When I first stepped foot on African soil, I could breathe for the first time. I'm not here to steal, I'm not here to infiltrate. I'm here to basically be that beacon of light, to shine light on those people within the motherland, to let them know how phenomenal they are and how bright their light is. We could change the world just like that.
Do you think that Africa is being taken advantage of?
Yes, in a multitude of ways.
You think that you're going to actually spend most of your years here?
The rest of my life here, absolutely. I don't think, Kelvin, I know.
Okay, you should go.
Our producer is signing off. My man, King Ethan.
Yeah, King Ethan.
Last time we met,
Yes.
it was in Malawi.
It was in Malawi.
And a lot of people, when they watched your video, they were saying, wow, this man is very confident.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know me very well. Yeah.
They were saying that you're very knowledgeable.
Okay.
And you are very confident in everything the way you are presenting yourself, it
Yeah.
seems like you're one person who came to Africa with a vision.
Yes. Yes. Before
Yeah.
I get to that, I want to say, King, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. Everything.
I'd say thank you to you.
The pleasure's all mine. But it's I love what you're doing
Thank
on
you.
YouTube.
Thank you.
When I watched your channel and when the Queen Say came to me, she was like, Reggie, you need to collaborate with him. And
Amazing.
5 minutes later, after I contacted Kelvin, guess who contacted me? Kelvin is efficient. He's congratulations, the #1 YouTuber in Zimbabwe. For all those haters out there, he doesn't deserve it. Shut up. And appreciate the fact
Thank you, brother, for supporting me.
You don't even have to thank me. It's all love. And for all those people out there who are hating, just realize in this life, when it comes to us as African people, when you degrade one of your own, you're degrading yourself, you're degrading your community. So special shout out to you, King, and I know things are going to continue to progress.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for having me on your phenomenal podcast.
Yeah, you're probably like my third guest. So
I'm honored, man.
you're now in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
For the second time.
The second time.
And the first time seems like it did not go well for you because people were sort of like seeing you like an ATM machine.
Yeah. But you know what, man? You live and you learn. And I'm glad that now I'm back where I can call this place home. And I'm so happy to be here.
Are you learning Shona?
A little bit. Now, I learned how to interpret it when it comes in regards to receiving it. But when it comes down to me speaking it, people are like, he's a foreigner. He ain't from Zimbabwe. Where you from? I always get, where you from? I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. I was born in America. They're like, yeah, we figured that. But it's good to know that there are great people out there who are teaching me how to speak Shona, and it's a great privilege.
So you were born in America.
Yes.
And if you want to go back anytime, you can go back.
Yeah, but a lot of people give me heat for this. And for those people that don't know what heat is, it's like problems.
Yeah.
A lot of people, why don't you want to go back to America? Because I hear you, Ethan. That's my man out there.
My son is shouting
Man,
outside.
he's doing his thing. He's part of it too. He's the producer, and he's doing his thing. That's not crying, he's producing. But people always ask me, why don't you want to go back to America?
Yeah.
I think America, and my mom said it best years ago. She said, I've outgrown America. It doesn't mean that I'm better. It just means that I found a place that's brought me so much peace and happiness, and that's in the motherland. That's in Africa.
Africa. You think that you're going to actually spend most of your years here?
The rest of my life here, absolutely. I don't think, Kelvin, I know.
Oh,
yes.
You've made a choice.
I made a choice when I first arrived here. When I first stepped foot on African soil, when I was in Ethiopia, it was the Ethiopian airport.
Yeah.
Then I actually came to Zimbabwe. When I first stepped foot on African soil, I could breathe for the first time. I could, feel the presence of my ancestors. Yeah. And I was just so happy. I was like, this is home.
So how was life in America?
America, for me, I felt like it was it was a big roller coaster ride. And I could be very biased. And if people ask me that same question, I could be spiteful. And I apologize for those people who have viewed me that way. America can be a great place for those people who envy that type of lifestyle. It just wasn't the lifestyle for me. Okay. But I will say that the people who raised me in Houston, Texas, down south, I was so honored to be raised by the most phenomenal people I'll ever meet. My mother, my uncles, my father, my elders, my grandparents, all of them, my cousins, so many great people, my coaches, my teachers, the respectable ones, my best friends, it was a great experience, being in Houston, Texas, being raised by phenomenal people. But I just know that like my mom said a long time ago, I feel like I've outgrown it, and I found a place that brings me peace and sanity where I am right now.
Do you think?
Life.
Do you think that black people somehow they feel like strangers in America?
Yeah, there's a lot of violence there, and I feel like there's a lot of slave mentality. And with the slave mentality, I feel like if you were wanting to damage your own people in any way, you are a slave. You do not kill your own. You do not toxify your own. You do not steal from your own. King Kelvin, if all of these phenomenal people came together, whether they be artists, athletes, whoever, and started their own platforms with no divisiveness intact whatsoever, we could change the world just like that in a snap of a finger. But I feel like there's a lot of divisiveness everywhere we go around the world, and that is blatantly and obviously structured. So for us, we can't allow ourselves to be easily or divided, leading us to be easily conquered. And when there is a lot of violence in America, I feel like that's part of it. And another part of it is to where people are only going to attack you if they feel like you are an easy target. So we have to unify and protect ourselves at all accounts, no matter where we are. I do feel like we as young people, we just need to listen more and use our discernment more and just know how phenomenal we are, King Kelvin. I call you King because that's what you are.
How old were you when you left America?
I was 20. How old was I? I think 2020. So I was 27.
So
30.
What made you to leave America, the land of opportunity? Because everyone say everyone wants to go to America and Africa.
I apologize. It was when I was 26, and I wanted to leave America because at first I thought I found the love of my life in the UK. Didn't work out. Doesn't mean we're failures. You just progress. And then I always wanted to go to Africa since I was 14. So I knew that I was going to go overseas. I just didn't know where, and I didn't know when. But I know a lot of people to this day, you're leaving the land of opportunity. How could you be so crazy? I'm not crazy. I just feel like when it comes in regards to us as African people and the motherland, we have to realize that people come over, take resources, build up a monument or a big successful brand in a matter of seconds. So that just tells you how phenomenal we are and our minerals and our resources are. And when I noticed that, I'm not here to steal, I'm not here to infiltrate, I'm here to basically be that beacon of light, to shine light on those people within the motherland, to let them know how phenomenal they are and how bright their light is. So that way when darkness comes, we don't allow it to dim us whatsoever.
Do you think that Africa is being taken advantage of?
Yes, in a multitude of ways, yes. And I feel like the reason is because a lot of people, us as African people, we are so loving and so caring. That's why they call it the motherland. We nurture to other people. But one thing we have to do is we have to realize that if somebody comes over and their main goal is to try to, study you, infiltrate you, bring you down in any way, they're not your people. Even if they look like us, King Kelvin. A person who really loves you and cares about you would never allow you to be, allow metaphorically speaking, your light to be dimmed or allow you to be degraded at all. If King Kelvin is having a bad day, am I going to say, oh, suck it up and deal with it? No, you don't do that. I'm going to say, hey, King, what can I do to make sure that this particular problem does not stay within you a second more, and how are we going to progress from this problem?
So you mentioned that you thought that you had found the love of your life, and it seems like you don't want to talk about it.
No, I could talk about it.
What happened?
Well, she was a very sweet person. I just felt like there was, because she was mixed race.
Okay.
And there was a lot of things that I felt like I wasn't ready for. She was the sweetest person that you can ever ask to be with. But I felt like with us, we went down a road that we weren't, it's not even that we were prepared for, that it wasn't meant to be. And, when it comes in regards to me, I'm not more so a wish you the best type of guy, but I will say that the moments that I shared with her were great moments, and I cherish them, but not to a point where I'm like, oh, I want to go back. No, we move on and we progress from there. So I just felt like I probably wasn't the best husband. I didn't cheat. I didn't abuse physically or anything like that, but there were mistakes that I made to where I just wasn't supportive in her career. Okay. I wasn't, I just felt like there were times to where I felt like I was just taking her for granted. And as a man, I shouldn't have never did that. And I know moving forward, I'll never do that again. But I feel like racism was a big thing. Living in the UK was a big thing. Us not really knowing each other fully was a big thing. And now we, like I said, I've moved on and progressed, and, that's where I'm at now.
How big is racism in America?
It's really big, but it's one of those things where people, I don't think a lot of people know what racism is. People always correct me. They say, Reggie, you're being racist. No, racism is when, you have to remember where it started. It started actually in the UK. And when it comes,
in the UK?
the UK is the belly of the beast. So when it comes in regards to a lot of things that have happened, within America, you got to realize that racism is to where every group outside of the African race, even people within the African race who wants to be like people outside of the African race, are benefiting off the misfortunes of the original people. And how do they do that? They degrade us. They murder us. They do so many negative things to us to make us feel weak and vulnerable. And then they take advantage. They continue to take. A symbiote, that's what I call them. A symbiote is a toxin that clings onto life. And without clinging onto life, if they don't have anything to cling on to, they die. So I feel like that's what these people are about. That's what racism is. And I don't want to play no part in that. People get mad at me when they say, do you have friends who are outside of the African race? I would say that they are human beings. When it comes in regards to, friends or whatever, at the end of the day, I have family. Yeah. Because you don't want to throw that terminology around so often. But yeah, when it comes in regards to people outside of the African race, I will say that there are human beings out there. And I'm glad that I've met a few of them. And human beings are people to where they know that racism exists and they will never, ever try to benefit from it whatsoever.
Because for us Africans, when we hear the term racism, it doesn't exist in our dictionary. And somehow, somewhere, it seems like people are now starting to gain that negative exposure or saying racism here in Africa. Yeah. I don't think that we have racism here in Africa. And it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. You stayed in America. You stayed in the UK. Yes, I did. And you still ended up in Africa. What happened in the UK? Probably for me, I would say UK and America, those are the best.
When I was 14 years old, I saw past the lies that they were presenting to us on TV. And I realized that Africa is the most phenomenal place in the world. And it was one of those things to where I feel like that when I was in America, the UK, you experienced racism, but it didn't really bother me. Now that I look back on it, I shouldn't have allowed it to bother me that much, but it wasn't what pushed me away. What led me to Africa was me knowing that this was the place for me, because I saw past the lies. I saw the truth. I saw how phenomenal Africa is and always will be. And I was like, I have to live there. And here I am.
Are you seeing opportunities in Africa?
I see a lot of opportunities. What I love about African people is that, man, they are so entrepreneurs. Yes. We as African people, we know how to turn nothing into a phenomenal something. I feel like our biggest problem is unity. Once we unify on all accounts and we make sure that this particular quote unquote small business, it collaborates with this small business, it keeps growing and growing and growing. Everybody is sharing the wealth equally, because that's the way it's supposed to be. Nobody's being greedy. Nobody's being divisive, leading us all to be easily conquered. Oh man, we're going to continue to progress from there.
So you think that as Africans we are not united?
I feel like we are united in some way. Yeah. But when it comes in regards to business, at certain times, because I've seen it so many times to where I'll talk to a person. Yeah, man, I'm trying to get my business up and running. Oh man, what about that person? Oh man, they don't want to share the wealth. Yes. That's the problem. See, for me, I'm one of those people to where when I build, I'm feeding my people. No matter what. If I don't have it, I'm going to direct you to somebody who does. Guaranteed. We're all going to grow. Reggie, come on, man. If I make it, I want to give you something. I don't want nothing in return. Because that's what us as African people are supposed to do. Help each other and not expect nothing in return. So yeah, we're united to some sort, but I feel like we can do better.
Looking at Africa, what is one thing that is stopping us to take advantage of what we have from your own perspective as someone who recently come to Africa?
Manipulation. Manipulation. I feel like there are people who look like us and people outside of our race who have manipulated us to think that we are broke, which we're not. We're rich. We are broken. We're not. We are healed. And I feel like they make it seem like we have to go outside of ourselves and outside of our country to find truth, when the truth is right here within us and in front of us.
When I'm looking at America, when I'm looking at UK, you stayed in those two places. And when those people who are born there are looking at Africa, what kind of people do they think we are?
You know what? When I was growing up, I had a few friends. I'll give you two examples. There was a friend I had named Mayo Akindele. Yeah. Oh man, his family is so sweet. And Abdul Diop, family so sweet. I remember there was a time to where they came to our neighborhood, or in our area, to our school. And there were people who were mocking them because their parents were wearing dashikis and everything. And I remember I was young too. And my mom saw that I was about to start mocking them as well. Because, you know, peer pressure.
They were from what? From Africa?
They were from Africa. And my mom pulled me to the side and said, don't let me ever catch you degrading these people who have come from the motherland over here. They are your people too. And when I saw that, at that point, that was all my mom needed to say, because I saw that we were all one. There are people who have this perception because of toxic programming that leads them to believe that people from Africa deserve to be treated a negative way. No, that's not what we're going to do. And whenever I see somebody from Africa, or no matter where I am in the world, I'm always going to treat them with the utmost respect, because that's what we all deserve to do to each other. And that's the way it's going to continue to be from my perspective. So whenever I've had people who are trying to be bashful towards Africans, I will step in and say, you're not going to do that. I won't sit here and allow you to do that. And if they want to fight, do whatever, then it's obviously evident that they are a slave, and I don't even waste my time with those types of people.
You know, it's really sometimes I want to really know, like in American schools, what they teach students about Africa, to be specific, because the way Africa is portrayed on social media, I'm telling you, the perspective is very, very wrong. Are you guys taught like to hate Africa, or maybe people are being killed by monkeys or something like that?
You have to realize too, the way that things are structured, King Kelvin, you have to make it seem like the best place in the world is the worst place in the world, to keep the best people from going to that place. If more people came to Africa and they don't bring the American knowledge, because even when I first came to Zimbabwe, there were a lot of people that said, you better not think of us like this. And I was like, first of all, no one's going to tell me what I should and shouldn't do. I already know how to treat people. That's why I'm here. So I'm not going to come here and be degrading towards any of my African people. That's one. Two is when it comes in regards to people who have this defense mechanism, like, oh man, is this American going to judge me? I understand why that happens. Like I said earlier, King, divide and easily conquered. So of course, in America and the UK, they teach the youths and a lot of other people, Africa's bad. They doing bad things, but they never show the good. And if they do, it's very small. It's very small. So I saw past that, and I hope other people do as well. Africa is the most phenomenal place on the world. America's not. I was raised by the most phenomenal people in the world, and I am grateful for that opportunity. But I will say that Africa is home for me. I'm glad that my village raised me to be knowledgeable of that, and I would always welcome my people from America to come here, and I will make sure everything in my power, when I have the resources to do so, that they will be just fine, just like I am. Because I know that in America and the UK, they want to keep us divided so we can be easily conquered. They want to keep us from the motherland so we don't come back to our roots. And I feel like that's sad when there's so much divisiveness intact and people feed into that and they don't realize that they're prolonging a problem that shouldn't exist to begin with.
You speak like a true African. You speak as if you were born here.
Oh, yeah. I'm honored, man. You know, the thing is, King, is I feel like that's all of us. You know, it's in us, but we just have to recognize it ourselves. I could care less about Reggie getting credit for this or that and third. I appreciate it, but I feel like it's about we and not me. So I feel like all of us, we have that knowledge of self. We have that knowledge of what really needs to happen. We just gotta do it, man. And we will. We're on the right path. I feel like we're on the right path. It's gonna take time, but we're on the right path.
Because people, when they're looking at you speaking like this as a true African, they say, wait till he faces a lot of challenges here in Africa. Probably he's going to go back.
Oh, I did. There have been times, Kelvin, I've even gone on social media. I'm like, man, I'm thinking about going back. And then I had to sit back and I had to reflect and say, nah, man, this is home. I've been homeless here. I've been broke here. There's been nights. Oh yeah, there's been days where I've been starving, but then I realized that everything's gonna be okay. And everything ended up being okay because I had great people like yourself who picked me up and said, Reggie, everything's gonna be fine. We're going to look after you. And I feel like in life, that's what I've had my whole life. No matter where I was, people who always lifted me up. So for me, when people say, thank you, Reggie, for helping me, you don't need to thank me. That's what us as true African people are supposed to do. Help each other, pick each other up when we're down so we can progress from there. So I'm always grateful and thankful. I faced tough challenges, but I'm right where I belong.
Are you going to laugh again?
Oh, my goodness. I knew Kelvin was going to ask this question. All right, ladies, for who's watching, Reggie is single. And I was in a taxi. I was telling Kelvin this story. I was in a taxi today, and I saw a beautiful little baby. I wasn't going to kidnap it because I don't do that. But I was like, man, I actually want to have a child. Soon, but I have to find the right queen to do so. Will I find that right queen? Of course, but only time will tell, Kelvin. So for me, I feel like right now I'm just so busy, and I know a lot of women out there, they wouldn't want me at this state of me being busy. And I work with youths and do media all the time in the movies and stuff. I wouldn't want to do that to a queen to where she's like, man, where's my husband? Where's my man? He's always busy. He has no time for me. I would be doing her wrong.